Okay, so I've been seeing this guy a lot for you guys, the Knight of Cups. This is water sign coming back in from the past, okay? So a lot of that has been happening for you guys all through May as well. So definitely this is still something that is going to be hanging on for this month. And I do feel, you know, with the Mercury in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde is notorious for bringing back people from our past, people who, you know, we try to let go of. And there is a great energy here of, you know, emotionally moving on from a situation, but mentally, I feel like mentally you are more than ready to move forward. But emotionally, either the other person is still hanging on to dear life and, you know, not letting you go, or there's still unfinished business between you and the other person. This could be potentially like a water sign, a Cancer, a Pisces, or a Scorpio that you've been dealing with for quite some time. Just keep in mind that, you know, this is not a very sincere person. They might be prone to throwing tantrums. They might be also, they might try to guilt trip you too. I do feel that as a Knight energy in the reverse position, this is somebody that can be emotionally manipulative. He or she is not manipulative as like a King of Cups in the reverse position, but you know, they are still using a lot of guilt to make you do what they want you to do. However, they're not very slick about it. Like, I feel like the King of Cups would be a little more refined, a little more slick, even like the Queen of Cups in the reverse position. So they would be more adept at manipulation. So this young energy is not that great at it. You can see through the facade, and therefore you're able to, you know, emotionally move on. However, it's really difficult for you to somehow extract yourself. I do feel that, you know, the moving on process is definitely on your side, okay? But it's pesky because this energy keeps coming back. So the advice here in general is, you know, just be very wary about this. Don't rush back into things with this other person. Don't give them an opening to pop back in, and be very careful about words that are being said or things that are being offered, because it's coming from a place of ego, of insecurity, rather from, you know, a genuine sense of wanting to help you or wanting to be in your life, okay? So if this is somebody that you're dealing with on an interpersonal relationship, be very, very careful, okay? So this is like a warning card. Whenever I see this facing another character, it's usually telling you to be on your guard, okay? If you're dealing with this situation in a work environment, what I do sense is you might be prone into rushing to that situation, or you're trying to move on with your life. You're trying to like leave the past behind. You're trying to leave this energy behind. And this energy is kind of like popping back in every once in a while to like stir things up, you know. I don't feel they do it intentionally, but it's just, you know, they're kind of, they feel that your world might be a little bit wrapped up in them. So they kind of like overestimate their importance in your life, okay? So they pop back in thinking it's harmless when in fact it rattles you. So it would be to your interest, your best interest actually, to be very on guard and to, you know, cut this person off, okay? So in any type of an interpersonal relationship or a business partnership even, just be very careful about that, because I do feel that, you know, first of all, once a liar, always a liar, and once a cheater, always a cheater. So be very careful, okay? Things don't change overnight. I feel that it is going to take years for this energy to mature and, you know, reverse himself. Okay, so just be careful about that. So, one other thing I would say is, in the reverse position, it's not so bad, mainly because you are aware of what people are capable of, and in the past you've pretty much turned a blind eye, so they think they get away with it, and they you know, they try to fool you over and over again. So it is actually important for you to say what needs to be said, and also let people know where they stand with you. I feel that you can't be passive this month, okay? At least wait until after Mercury is out of the retrograde period so that the energy doesn't come back. And when you've said your piece, then they will leave you alone, okay? So Mercury retrograde ends on the June 11th. So wait until, I would say, even the last week of the month to make these difficult decisions, and especially to say what needs to be said and make sure that you get your point across. Otherwise, the other person might misunderstand, or you might not get the entire message across to them, okay? Because once again, I do sense a false sense of like entitlement and a false sense of like security here. They overestimate their importance in your life. Okay, that's the main message that I am getting, because the energy keeps cycling in all through May, and now it's June and it's still not going away. So, you know, obviously they don't get it. They don't get it. So you really have to be on guard about this, and you really have to say your piece, even though it's hurtful, but at least, you know, pound the message in, all right? And with this energy, it's somebody that's not going to change. So protect yourself accordingly, okay? A lot of you, though, are dealing with a situation, I feel like it might be related to this person coming in early in the month, or even maybe, I'm doing this in May, so maybe even, you know, cycling in May. But I do feel, because this energy is coming in the very last card for this month, it is going to be something that you're grappling with, and it is a little bit emotionally upsetting, okay? Coupled with this card, I do feel that the multiple run-ins with the situation has left you kind of scarred. You're very upset. You're very regretful about how things transpired with the other person. And at the same time, every time they cycle back into your life, I do feel like a sense of like you feeling rattled, feeling kind of like shaken up, okay? And I don't feel it's in a positive way, because this card is basically regret and grief. This is a grieving card. You know, this is something that you've also invested a lot of emotions in, something that you are basically emotionally bound to. There are more bad memories than there are good. Basically, 3 spilled cups versus 2 full cups. So in a way, there were more bad memories in this, you know, interpersonal relationship. And you should keep that in perspective, okay? Because basically you've got 2 cups left, and in here, you're trying to salvage whatever you can out of this situation with these 2 leftover cups, and you're not doing so successfully because it is showing up in the reverse position. So what I would say is this card itself in the reverse position does indicate to me boundary issues from the other party, okay? I know that a lot of Capricorns do not have boundary issues. If anything, you tend to be a little walled off. So it is definitely coming from an external energy, and it is something that is very it's very problematic. So it is really important for you to say your piece and let the other person leave you alone. And yeah, if you don't do it, I do feel that it is going to affect your professional life. Okay, this is a card of like the apprentice. This is learning a new skill, learning a new craft. This is trying to establish yourself in the work environment or in the outer world. And in the reverse position, I do feel that whatever is left unsaid can create hostilities, can create problems that will siphon out into the work environment, into your mental processes, into your ability to really enjoy new energies that are coming in for you, and as well as take up new opportunities that are appearing in your midst, okay? So the passivity is going to have to be let go of once and for all, okay? And you are going to have to like claim your territory, claim your space, and not let other people encroach upon it, okay? As an earth sign, it is, you know, being ruled by the element of earth. It is very important for all earth signs in general, you, Taurus, and Virgo. Taurus is more on the financial front. Virgo is more on like protecting their own little bubble. But for Capricorn, Capricorn is ruled by the goat, which is all about firm footing. So when other people encroach upon your personal space, you're losing out on ground and you don't have a firm footing. And that's what I'm sensing with this card here. Somebody is coming in encroaching upon your space. And you know, when a goat is like limited in space as to where he or she can maneuver, they get very antsy. It's sort of like when animals in general are kind of cornered, they lose their sense of perspective, first of all, and they can lash out. Okay, so there, if you're repressing all these feelings about people just basically invading your space, or you know, feeling very emotionally rattled to the point where you kind of lose your footing, you lose your sense of focus, you lose your sense of foundation, it is going to be problematic for you. And then you might say hurtful things at the last minute because you've kept everything in. It is actually very problematic with this Mercury in retrograde if that is something that you've been harboring inside and you don't have an outlet for it. So be very, very careful, okay? Financially, on the work front, I do feel that outside of this external energy that is coming in for you, things are looking very good for you on the work front. Okay, so we have an escalation basically in the income and in the finance department. So you know, from you jump from a 3 to an 8 in Pentacles, so you're making like leaps and bounds almost like overnight. So I do feel this is happening for the first 2 weeks of this month. Most of you will be learning a new craft. What I am sensing is, though, in the reverse position, I do feel that it's kind of like the student being a teacher. If you see it in the upright position, you know, this is like the traditional learning method in which this younger person here is getting advice on how to do things to make money, how to improve upon, like, first of all, create his financial base, and secondly, to learn a new craft that can be income generating in the future. So this is the traditional learning method. However, in the reverse position, and this is actually a very good card for you guys, because I do feel that it's the student that has a lot more to offer. Okay, so a lot of you might be starting a new job, might be starting a new internship, might be starting some type of income generating activity, excuse me, where you actually have a lot more skills and expertise than the people who are telling you how to do the job. So you might be like more well-informed, more experienced, and in general, you know, you are very, very level-headed. And I do feel that when you do something, you do it very, very well, and you are cautious more than anything. Capricorn is a very, very careful, very meticulous sign. Virgos as well, all earth signs in general, especially with Taurus too, when it comes to money making. But in general, this is a situation that might be a little bit awkward for you because I don't feel that you are going to, well, there is a little bit of frustration here. So basically, so you have a lot more expertise and experience than the people give you credit for. So you're going to hold your tongue and listen to the advice that they're giving you. However, I do feel there is a sense of rebelliousness within you, and you might want to forge ahead and do things your way. So I do feel in this context, the 3 energy is all about foundation building. So it is very important for you to establish good rapport with the people that you work with. Offer your ideas. Don't take the advice lying down, okay? It is very important to say, well, actually, I've done this before and this was what happened. I feel like it is actually a really good time for you to express your competence and express your experience so that other people will let you take the lead, okay? So rather than holding it in, it is important that words need to be said with this card here. And you don't have to do it in a very impulsive way, but I do feel that a lot of you have been keeping quiet for quite some time. So make sure you let it out little by little rather than letting everything build up and escalate, and then it comes out in a very unfavorable manner. So communication and, you know, precise, concise communication and also the right timing is going to be very instrumental to your financial success. But in general, I do feel that, you know, this card too, financial abundance is in the making for you, okay? So keep at it. You guys are going to be very well received as well on the work front. So once again, we go from 3 of Pentacles to the 8 of Pentacles. And this card is, you know, working diligently to get the task done. and you're actually going to be doing something a little bit, what I would consider a little bit tedious, but you have a routine. I feel that work is very stable for this month, and you're going to reap huge financial rewards. Okay, what I'm sensing is a lot of you might be making like a lot of money. So this is, Eight of Pentacles. The next one is the Nine, which is basically the your money grows on trees. So your money is making itself, kind of like investing in something and letting your investment portfolios grow. But in this situation, I do feel that this is a step before that. So you're establishing a very firm base. You're establishing like a sense of order, and you're putting all the pieces together, and you're crafting them in a very meticulous and careful manner so that they can generate themselves in the future. Okay, your money will make, I guess, replicate themselves. But at the same time, this could also be, working in an environment in which it could also indicate paperwork. I don't feel an office setting with this situation. So you might be, meeting clients, you might be closing deals, a lot of you, but in an outdoor type of setting. So for those of you who are in like the woodwork, like woodworking or doing any type of like art, craft, where you're learning, where you're like an apprentice for somebody, I do feel that you are going to be extremely happy. Okay, so for some reason, I always sense like a little smirk in his face. It's kind of like that whistle while you work type of energy. And for a lot of other signs, especially the air signs, I feel that this type of job might be a little bit tedious. But for you, I feel that it's very suitable for you because you have a good eye for details. So you're not going to be bored. You're going to enjoy it quite a bit, and it has a lot of financial rewards at the end of it. Okay, so what I am sensing in here is another way that this energy will play out for this month is so let me see here. The Seven in the middle, this is the advice card. So the advice, once again, is don't rush into things too soon, but at the same time, words that were long. So basically, the Knight of Swords is a very swift energy. This is a messenger. And this is also somebody who comes in and out very, very swiftly, okay? So there is a little sense of like monotony to this month, I'm sensing, mainly because of this card and also this card. So energy might not be as kinetic, is what I'm sensing. There might be a sense of like stagnation as well on the work front and on the communication front. So you might want like, a lot of momentum. You might want to start new projects. You might want to like even travel. This is also a good card for travel. You might want a lot of changes in your midst. However, this card is reversed. So I do feel that your ability to change your pace, your ability to move projects ahead might be dependent on another person and their news and their decisions, which are a little bit stalled. Okay, so news and things and like that green light energy is not coming fast enough. Okay, it is coming. So in the meantime, I feel that while this is the advice for you to not rush in, it is also important to have clear communication. So I feel in general the energy is a little slow so that you can focus on the income generating potential of it, okay? Like the longevity, the stability of these projects or these things that you're working on. Okay, and at the same time, for those of you who are, suffering some type of disillusionment on the romance front, it's actually, most of you will actually bury your time, your head in the work scene so that you are not thinking about things, on the emotional front. So it's kind of like using work as a distraction, okay? So work diligently, be careful about making mistakes as well, mainly because, for the first 2 weeks, Mercury in retrograde, be very careful about mistakes. Though the beauty of it is, if there are mistakes, they are going to have to be reworked. So, nothing bad is going to come out of it, because I do feel that in the reverse position, mistakes are going to be caught early on so that no one suffers dire consequences, okay? So in this capacity, The one thing I would say very strongly is you have this card here, and this is indicative of, pretty much to the last 2 weeks of this month, you are going to be moving forward. This is also a card of new beginnings. And, new beginnings are always nice, but it can bring about a lot of changes. It can be destabilizing, okay? So for some reason, I'm getting this. For those of you who are dealing with a Sagittarius as well, if for some reason you are seeing a Sagittarius, I do feel that there are going to be new beginnings in your life, possibly without that other person, without that Sagittarius in your life, for those who are dealing with a Sagittarius. So I do feel that while new beginnings for you are very welcomed and are very appreciated and even, are exciting for you to behold, it is still going to be, problematic and upsetting, mainly because it requires a lifestyle change. So a lot of you might be letting go of situations, and I do feel that you are welcoming it. But there is that whole issue with your head and your heart not being in the right place, okay? So the sword energy is a very mental energy. This is like the rationalities part of you. It is in the reverse position. So I do feel that your head is telling you, oh, this makes perfect sense. But then your heart is just thinking about the past, and your heart is also gauging the potential of it. And you're just like, no, that's not going to work. I'm going to cut my losses, salvage the two that I have left, and, walk away. And there's that energy that you are going to grapple with pretty much the first few days, and also like I would say from like the 18th, the 20th, around that time, a lot of you might be contemplating, grappling with this head energy, okay? So I would say like for the first week, the first few days of the first week of June, excuse me, you are ready to let it go. And then from like the 18th, 19th, 20th, there is this sense of, I guess, fighting your sense of rationality. Rationally, you are not yet ready to let it go, and your heart is telling you otherwise. So I believe it was last month where your head and your heart's not in the same space. Your mentally you're okay to move on, but emotionally you're not. So this month is a different energy. It's like the opposite. But either way, it's a part of the healing process, and it's just the way we process things. And I do feel that you are coming to terms with it, and you are moving on forward with a new beginning. The only danger is, don't rush this new beginning. There is a time and a space for everything else. So, it will come in its time. The only advice here I would say is focus on your finances. Focus on those things that, bring you more stability, more joy, and more of a routine, because I feel that a lot of you might need that. And you have a lot of good cards here that indicate new beginnings, especially on the financial front, okay? So don't rush ahead with it. There is a time and a place for everything, and timing is everything as well. This is also a good card with timing. And I do feel it's almost like clocks, like a clockmaker is what I'm sensing. So for those of you who are in the handicraft, if you're a clockmaker, I feel that you're going to be very sought after this month. But at the same time, I do sense that timing is going to be very important. So just keep in mind that sometimes things are stalled. Sometimes we feel a certain way, mainly because it's our intuition telling us that timing is not right for certain things to happen yet. So be very patient with it. And when something is kind of stalled, it allows you more time to reflect back or rework something that has, potential. So keep that in mind and be very patient for this month, okay? If there is a sense of boredom in general, and you feel that it is you feel that you should, forge ahead and try to do new things, push new projects forward, proceed, excuse me, with possibly new potential love interest, I would be very careful, mainly because the Fool card is underneath this cheater card, okay? So for those who might potentially have like an air sign, or even be dealing with like a water sign, be very, very careful, because you are kind of wedged. So these are external energies. You're kind of wedged in the middle here. So, and you are crowned by this really unfavorable cards that indicates, you know, lying and cheating and things like that, and even stealing. So, just whoever you choose to give your heart to, either that air sign or even that water sign, I would strongly advise you to be careful, okay? And on top of that, it's corroborated by this Three of Pentacles. Whenever you do like a love reading and there's a three energy, Three of Swords, Three of Pentacles, even Three of Cups in the reverse position, it can be very problematic, okay? Because it indicates that there is an external energy. It's a threesome energy, and three's a crowd, you know, so no matter how you slice it, in a love relationship especially, is not going to work out, okay? There is another energy in the mix, and it's not going to end well. Somebody is going to be left out in the cold. We're dealing with two reverse court cards, you rushing into something that you are very excited about, okay? And then crowning you is something that's going to happen, and which is you're dealing with people who are not upfront. And then next to that is, you know, Three of Pentacles. There's another person in the mix. So for a lot of Capricorns, it might be you with like two potential suitors, or it could play out in that, you know, you are leaning towards this air sign more than anything. And that air sign's got like another partner possibly that they are potentially trying to reconcile with. So if you can look at it this way, this air sign is coming in for you. You're going to rush in. This air sign has unfinished business that he or she is potentially dealing with. And then on top of that, there's a threesome energy. So, you know, be very, very careful about romantic encounters, I would say, at least. You know, keep things very light, very casual. Don't overinvest your emotions so that you don't end up in a bad place, especially towards the end of this month, okay? So be very careful about that. In general, finances looks very good. Romance might be a little bit problematic, but I do feel that you are level-headed enough and you know what you're doing, okay? I always trust Capricorn to make like the difficult decisions with grace is how I would say it. You do see the big picture very well. And I do feel it's from being the goat. You're kind of like on top of the hill and you're looking down and you do see the big picture. You do see how things are going to potentially play out. So you make the right decisions. You make the rational decisions. And the rational decisions are never easy when it comes to things that your people are very emotionally invested in, but somehow you do make the wise choice, okay? And with Virgos too, I do feel that you know, that Hermit card, it's a man on top of a mountain. Virgos also have a very broad bird's eye view of the situation, but Virgos are almost like removed from the human experience. So it's a little bit harder for Virgos, okay? And then Taurus, it's the Hierophant. So Taurus can detach, but I do feel in general Capricorns make very good decisions when it comes to things that you are emotionally invested in. Somehow you're able to navigate the complexities of it and you make like, you come out with the best choice despite being emotionally invested. So you are detached enough to know what's going to work, how things are going to pan out in the future. However, in this situation, I would be wary because you are caught between two reverse court cards. They're both considered classically suitors, you know, male or female. They're both coming in with something to offer. I feel that one sign is very like, you have a very strong emotional bond with. The other sign is somebody that you're going to have a very strong intellectual connection with. Okay, so it is, you're caught between a rock and a hard place, but I don't feel both of these choices offer you enough stability, okay? So we need more of an earth energy here to balance this out. So be careful about that. So that's coming in, I would imagine, towards the end of the month, okay? So it could potentially be a new person and an old former lover. They could both be new people. Yeah, I do feel they might be new people because of this death card in the upright position. But either way, just be on the lookout, okay? Just be careful for of flakiness, of insincerity. I'm pretty sure you can gauge them. And one of the things that I am seeing is like white flowers. So keep an eye out for meeting somebody who is giving you like white flowers for women or even men, but like somehow I feel that white flowers, that's like something to look out for. I feel like that's the path that you're supposed to go, like white bell flowers, roses, or something like that. I feel that's where you're supposed to be headed. Okay, so you're going in the right direction. And I'm seeing like for example, if you're caught in like a fork in the road, aim for the one with like flowers. I feel that it is going to be the right choice for you for some reason. Okay, so keep that in mind. Flowers. The images are coming up in multiple cards already, but I would say white would be more favorable. Okay,